Well, good evening, Chameleon Academy. Welcome to this Tuesday night. It's the open question and answer office hours. And yes, I'm here live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. If you're seeing this on replay, just know you could be here live. Just show up. It's free. I'm both on Instagram and on YouTube. Now, if you're on Instagram, come to the Chameleon Academy YouTube live. The chat is much more hopping there, but I'm there because I love my Instagram audience. All right, hello everybody. Alicia is the first one in. There's Angela and Janet, Tony, Flick from Northern Ireland, and wonderful to see you again. James Cross is here, everybody. You know what that means? Hey, Matthew from Spain. Good to have you here. Well, since James is here, you know what that means? It is the releasing of the fog. Actually, I don't think I have a whole lot of fog in here today. There's enough. There's enough there. There we go. Yeah. Yes, in here is spearmint. That's Shamrock Chameleon. They love their humidity. Love their humidity. All right. Let's get down here. Everybody's saying hello to each other. You know, me. Sometimes I'm just background noise, everybody. Sometimes I'm just background noise because the community, they really love each other so much, and that's how it should be. I am very happy to have a community that takes care of each other like this. And yes, everybody, we have the famous mushroom cup. If you don't know why this is important, it's just part of our lore. We actually have lore here. We've been doing this for almost 4 years now. And so we kind of have our own language and stuff, and you're welcome to join in. And every now and then you'll hear something you're going, what? Yeah, we got that. We got that. Let's see. How are you doing, Bill? Angela, how am I doing? My goodness. I have got so much going on. As you know, I have a new content calendar that I am committing, that I am sticking to. The hardest part when you're a content creator is to stick to a calendar, especially if you're doing other things besides just that thing. Like if I was just doing YouTube, no problem. If I was just doing the virtual campus, no problem. Virtual course or digital courses, no problem. But when you can do everything together, it's kind of like you just get overwhelmed. So I've been working very hard. And as you know, we have a video tomorrow morning because I'm sticking with it. And so tomorrow morning on the video YouTube channel, the Chameleon Academy YouTube channel. There's 2 Chameleon Academy channels, Chameleon Academy and Chameleon Academy Live. Just make sure you're subscribed to both of them. But the video goes out on the Chameleon Academy channel, and we have one tomorrow. It's about feeding chameleons, because if you got the newsletter, you know the topic of the week. It's feeding chameleons. How much to feed a chameleon, and you also know that we're testing Sean McNeely. For those of you who go to the Reptile Show Reporter Live, which is Wednesday evenings, he made such a big deal out of getting this newsletter that now we've decided to quiz him. And so, yeah, if you got the newsletter, look in there. There's some Easter eggs there. There's some things that we're going to be quizzing Mr. McNeely on tomorrow to see if he truly reads the newsletter. Now, got to say that he is on to my tricks. He sent me an email indicating he knows exactly what I'm up to. So I gotta say he may be ready. He may be ready. Let's see. Tyler is saying, Bill, you going to be at Tinley? I am not going to be at Tinley. I assume that means that there's a Tinley show going on soon. I will not be there. Oh, can't wait to test Sean. Yes, we're all going to be there. And he's probably not here today, so we can talk about him. We can talk about him behind his back. Anything you want to say about Sean, you can say it here. Okay, everybody says, love the mushroom cup. Mikey Ben is asking, has Yvette officially surrendered to the mushroom cup? Yeah, she's not sure what to make of all this. I kind of To everybody who's wondering, the mushroom cup, I kind of stole it from her, and that I kept stealing it from her, and she didn't realize that I was stealing it from her. So she was wondering where was it when I would take it, and so it became this whole thing about me getting away with the mushroom cup. And sometimes she would move it to somewhere, sometimes in her fan room somewhere, and I couldn't find it, and so I didn't always have the mushroom cup. And we had this entire drama going on, and she didn't realize that there was a whole drama going on about her mushroom cup until she actually listened to one of my live sessions, and all of a sudden she heard about this big drama. And so now she just stays out of it and just does her normal thing. And if I find the mushroom cup, I find it. If I don't, well, then I guess I'm going to make an adventure out of it. That's the way we do it. James says, anyone's cam starting to brumate? Oh, I don't think so. Mine are still eating, but the reason why James is asking that is because we in California just started hitting our cold nights. We're starting at 60s and 50s, and James is always like 10 degrees hotter or colder than where I am. So I'm sure James is starting to hit brumation weather now. Yeah. What is it? What is the temperature at the night times getting to where you are, James? Oh. J.B. Yancardi. Hello, Bill. I'm just starting in this world of chameleons. Well, J.B. Yancardi, welcome. This is a great place to hang out, and you just absorb information here. And if you have any questions, you just put it in there, and I answer questions. Let's see. Hold up, James Chameleon Brewmate. Okay. Yes, some more than others. And okay, we're talking about brumation. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, we may as well talk about brumation here. We are here to say this is all about education. So let's talk about brumation. Richard, who is closer to the James than I am, is at 40s recently. 45 at night. Okay, James is now at 45 at night. Yes, this is brumation weather for Parsons. So, okay, brumation. What is brumation? Brumation is something that chameleons go through that when the temperature gets cold. Like in Madagascar, you have this, especially in South Africa, you have this. And like in Madagascar, you get closer to the equator. You don't get the seasons like you have in North America, where it's the hot summer and the cold winter. You actually get wet and dry seasons. And the dry season is a little bit cooler than the wet season, which is a little bit warmer, but it's really differentiated by wet and dry. But there are some chameleons that do brumation seriously. Like Parsons chameleon is the ultimate brumator, because it will, like 6 months out of the year, it won't eat. It just hunkers in, and that's usually triggered when it gets cold. He hunkers down and just says, I'm not eating for 6 months. And 6 months later, he's really hungry. He eats for 6 months and then repeat. And it's the reason why we call it brumation instead of something like hibernation is because the chameleon's not sleeping. It's fully awake. It's sitting there on the branch looking at you. It just doesn't feel like eating. It doesn't feel like moving. It may move to get out of the sun if it's getting too much sun. But really, they just sit and hunker down and don't move. They'll look at you. So they're not sleeping. And you can get them out and you can interact with them, but they're not going to want to do anything. And so this is what we call brumation. Other chameleons do it, like the bradypodian of South Africa. They'll hide under rocks when the snow comes. But and a lot of other kaluma will do stuff like that. But that my experience, which is limited, is that the Kaluma O'Shaughnessy, the shamrock chameleon, which is a close relative to the Parsons, doesn't go as deep as the Parsons does. The Shamrocks, if I give them a cricket, they'll go for the cricket. They don't care about brumation. But Parsons chameleons, yeah, it takes a lot to get them to react to anything. But the thing is, if you have a chameleon that's brumating for the first time, you're going to freak out because you're thinking, oh my gosh, my chameleon's going to starve. What's happening to my chameleon? Why won't it eat? Yes. So the first time that you experience chameleon brumation, especially if you're a Parsons chameleon, if you are a new Parsons chameleon keeper and your $2,000 chameleon suddenly stops eating, it's really hard to say, oh, well, this is natural. This is fun. Yeah. You just, it takes a while to get used to that and to accept that that's happening. Eliza says, I thought mine was sick for the longest time. Yep. For 6 months, they'll be that way. It just says, I'm still learning, James. Yes, that's why we do what we do. We're all still learning. And this is, and actually, this is what makes it fun. We're learning together. And that's what I really love about the Chameleon Academy, is it's a community and we're all learning together. Some of us are at different stages. I'm further ahead than most, but I'm still on the same road as you all are on. And in 10, 20 years, someone in the chat here is going to take my place here and do what I'm doing. So it's a progression. So just enjoy where you are in the journey and enjoy being part of the community. Let's see, Jay Biancardi. I'm going to say that different every time. Is asking, I noticed that my chameleon doesn't like dubia roaches or superworms. She loves hornworms, silkworms, mealworms, or crickets. So our good friend JB there is experiencing chameleon pickiness. Every chameleon, there's two main things and one minor thing that's happening here. First, chameleons can be picky. That's just it. The thing is, the more they eat, the pickier they get. So if they were in the wild and they were hungry, they'd eat anything. But in the captivity, we feed them constantly. And so they don't burn as many calories as we give them because they're safe. They don't have to run from predators. They don't have to have those stress spikes. And they don't have to walk around, like if it's a panther chameleon in the wild, they're all over the place. They're walking on the ground and all that kind of stuff. So they're active. In the cage, they don't have to be active. And so they're not burning a whole lot of calories, which means they're not hungry. And when you're not hungry, what do you eat? When you are hungry, you eat anything in front of you. When you're not hungry, you eat the stuff that tastes good and gives you a little dopamine. So when we are hungry, we will scarf down potatoes. When we are full, we will wait for ice cream and the things we like. And so it's the same thing with the chameleon. So with you, I would say you just keep feeding them what they like. That's fine. That was enough of a variety that's a healthy variety. Now, the dubia roaches sometimes don't taste good to certain chameleons. Some chameleons will just chow them down all day, and then some chameleons just don't seem to like the taste. There is a way that you can help them be more amenable to dubia roaches, and that's to skip a feeding, make them hungry, and see if being hungry makes them want to go for a dubia roach, which is good possible. In fact, probable that they will go for a dubia roach if you skip a feeding. Now, I don't want you all to start manipulating your chameleon by hunger. I don't like the idea of that. Yes, it's effective because food is survival for us creatures, and so yeah, food can motivate us, and you can manipulate your chameleons, dogs, cats, everything with food. I Be very careful. We love our creatures, and so let's not starve them. But a chameleon can miss a meal. That's not a problem at all. Like I said, they're not burning a whole lot of calories, and a chameleon is not like a dog, where if a dog sits around and doesn't do anything, or us, we stick around and not do anything and not move, we're going to get obese. Chameleons are more designed for sedentary life. That's their safety, is not moving and not being seen. So it's not as important. They don't have to do laps around the cage every day to stay healthy. So you can remove a meal, just skip a meal, and then offer them one dubia and see if that works. So you can eventually get them into eating dubia. And if he's a young one, he's got growth, and things will happen as he grows. He may start trying other things, different personalities. Let's see if I can catch up on the chat here. I do a lot of talking, but that's what I do. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's what I do. So I'm going to be making background noise for everybody talking about grasshoppers and stuff in the chat. Let's see. Mabel and Pearl is saying, my chameleon seems to run to the door when she sees me and crawls right onto my arm. I'm looking forward to the video in hopes I'm not overfeeding her. She's juvenile and I have only had her for 3 weeks. Okay. Well, I don't want to give you any spoilers. I don't want to spoil the end of the video, but because we're here and we're talking about feeding and questions, I will answer this question. As a juvenile, don't worry about it. As a juvenile, feed them every day. As a juvenile, they are growing and their job is to grow. So fuel that growth. You just have to ease off when they become adults. Now you're going to be asking, how do I know when they're an adult? That's tricky because there isn't all of a sudden a light that goes on and says I'm an adult. You just have to know, okay, mine is getting to that point. And in the video, I'm going to show you some examples of the cask, if it's a veiled chameleon or a panther chameleon. So you can see, I'll show in the video the cask when it's blossomed up and when it's sunken in and concave, convex, all that kind of thing. Those are ways that you can tell. And so, and that of course is good with the visual. So watch the video for that one. I owe James so much. He helped me a ton. There we go. Community taking care of each other again. What the heck? I could say I'm just noise in the background. Hey, Nancy! Welcome! Hey. Hello, Joe! Welcome. Madagascar. James. Hi. Oh, Madagascar, James? Oh, yeah. By the way, everybody, remember, if you want to go to Madagascar, email me at bill@chameleonacademy.com. We've got a trip going January 14th through the 29th. I believe that is. And there are 2 spots that have opened up. And so if you want to go, and if you are adventurous to say, heck, I'm going to do it. In 3 months, I'm going to Madagascar. Then email me. Hey, Richard. Somebody to say hi. Can't stay though. It's the Penguins Open Eye. Richard on Tarantula Collective. Very good to see you here. You are always welcome here. We love having you. But yeah, go ahead and tell the Penguins I said hi. But thanks for dropping by. Anyway, yes, Madagascar. It is a fun trip. It is a, I specifically made a 2-week trip. So it's more accessible for those of us in the United States that can only get 2 weeks off. So any scholarships available for Madagascar? Well, unfortunately not. But I'd love to have you if you want to come see chameleons. Yeah, I will say about this trip, we go to the different. We see a lot of chameleons. We see the mantellas. We see the Euryplatus, Sakura, and Fantasticus, at least. And we see a lot of lemurs, all over the place. And at the last place we go to, you're going to have lemurs bouncing off of you. And we see the eye. Oh, my gosh, it's incredible. And of course, I can't guarantee we're going to see all of this, but I'm pretty sure I've been. This will be my third time, and I kind of know what we're what we're likely to see. So, all right, let me go through here. Yeah, so seriously, everybody, whoever wants to go to Madagascar, email me at bill@chameleonacademy.com. Oh, okay. Richard is throwing a little shade over here. Reptiles are boring. What the frick? Oh my goodness. Is this happening on my show? I only want to go places where I'm tripping over tarantulas. What the heck? I tell you, this could get ugly, folks. There are tarantulas in Madagascar? I don't know this. I know there's I haven't seen any tarantulas in Madagascar. But then again, didn't look. But I have seen tenrecs and I have seen Madagascar hissing roaches. Those are there. But what the heck? You know what? You come and we're gonna show you some chameleons. They're fun. But I will say this is a very chameleon centric, and you got to be the type of person who says, "Wow, I can't wait. There's a blue Parsons chameleon. I can't wait to see a yellow Parsons chameleon. Oh, and there's a blue one with orange eyes. Oh, I can't wait to see that one." So if you're the type that loves chameleons to the point where you're excited to see another color variation of a chameleon, this is the trip for you. Oh, and boas too. We'll see boas. There's 2 boas. There are a few species, but they aren't too exciting. Well, that's what we got chameleons for. And you know what? The lemurs. You'll like the lemurs. Everybody likes lemurs. I love the lemurs. I love the lemurs. Forklift. Yeah, that's Steve Hefner sitting on his forklift. What the heck? Making us all look bad. All right. James says, just watch out for the lemurs. They're little thieves. Yes. James was able to be mugged by lemurs. Nobody else has ever been, as far as I know, has been mugged by lemurs. They stole an orange slice from me, but they pretty much stole James's coffee and sugar. And that was funny. Tony says, will we see any boabab trees? Tony, we will not. Unfortunately, the boababs are way away. You have to, it's a couple of days, a trip to go see the boabab trees. And there isn't much chameleon wise over there. So there are some, but we will not be seeing. Well, I mean, we'll see. There's some planted in, some small ones planted in Tananarivo, and we'll see those on the way to the hotel, but we won't see the ones that you're thinking of. Tony is going. Woohoo! James says, that's awesome. You're my liaison. Bill, Tony's my honorary liaison. All right, Tony. The target's on your back. You sure you want to be James's liaison? Oh boy. Hey, don't forget the tomato frogs. Rad reptiles will probably see, we will most likely see mantellas, but I've never seen a tomato frog over there in Madagascar. So Matthew says, Bill, today I was chatting to a guy and he told me that he goes to South Spain, Cadiz Barbate, and he's picked up European chameleons. Are they similar to another chameleon? Camaleo chameleon is like the common chameleon, and it's very cool. And yeah, it's in Spain. Is it similar to another chameleon? It's got its own. It's like the archetypical chameleon of this. If you just have a plain chameleon without the horns and crests and all that kind of stuff, that's the one. But they are Mediterranean, which means, everybody, if you ever have a chance to work with Camaleo chameleon, is that they are used to the northern hemisphere weather patterns. And so you would think that they would do very well in especially the southern United States, people at the southern latitudes, and they would. But I don't know why we don't see them in the trade here. I do not know. James says, bring licorice, Tony. You'll make friends. Yeah, James brought the big, huge red vines. And so we were chowing down on red vines for the trip. Nate's got a question. So my Malthae, Nate just got a pair of Kaluma Malthae. I built our, and you don't know what that is. It's a very cool chameleon. It's like a flappy flap, the bread of a corn, but it's green. Ooh, it's very cool. They're decent. The floor is flat, and I have a pond liner with bar drain. Now, the water doesn't want to drain right. Anyone got a tip? That sounds like a James question. James would be excellent to answer that, and I bet you he's going to be answering in the chat. But I know what you mean, that if things aren't sloped, you end up with water at the bottom. And so usually with that, you just have if you have a soil bottom, then that takes care of the problem. But I know you probably don't have a soil bottom because you're probably got these guys in quarantine. And so the reason why that's an issue is because now you've got poop that has parasites down at the bottom in a puddle of water. That ain't cool. So, yeah. And James is in the chat and asking questions, and James is the awesome person to talk to about that. Angela's asking, I've seen a video, Bill, of chameleons in Florida. People catching them. Is that true? Were they ever in Florida? Yes, Angela, chameleons are in Florida. Both veiled chameleons and panther chameleons, especially veiled chameleons, have been naturalized in Florida. And I have been on a chameleon expedition and found a bunch of veiled chameleons in Florida. So yes, it is true. And they've pretty much established themselves. Now, there can be some arguments as to whether they are truly a healthy population, but they certainly are reproducing. Sakshumrungru is asking, Nosebe is 6 months old now, but I recently noticed he would sit under the basking lamp until he gets too hot and opens his mouth. However, the basking temperature is 32, 32. Yeah, I don't know what you guys doing. He should get out of the basking when he's done. So the only thing I can say, and I don't know this for sure, is I have no idea why he does that. I have no idea. Sometimes we just don't know don't know why they're doing it. If he's doing that consistently, turn off the basking light. So when he warms up, and if he spends a half hour warming up and then he opens his mouth, cut it at half an hour and see what that does. There's nothing that says we have to have the basking light on all day. They use it to warm up in the morning. So consider that as an option. Chris the Croc. Dr. Rob Cook. Oh, you went and saw Dr. Rob Cook. Oh, you among all are lucky. It's so cool. Dr. Rob Cook, who's been on this show many times, is now part of a private practice in San Antonio, Texas. And so if you're in the area, you have one of the best chameleon vets in the world right there. So anybody in that area, you are so lucky. But Chris the Croc is one of those. Just fixed my chameleon's prolapsed hemipenes today. I told him that I have listened to your podcast for years, and that I've heard him be a guest on the podcast. He seemed pretty happy. Excellent. Yes, perfect. That's how I bring on the people who are good people, and I want you to know who the good people are, and Dr. Rob Cope is one of the best. Yeah. Summon the Fog Father. The Fog Father is on the YouTube, and we already released the fog for the Fog Father, but yes, he is here. He is here. Let's see. And JB says, I have a cool tip. I have installed a water pump, small one for fishes, in my chameleon cage, and it gets the water out when I need. All right, that works. I use a wet dry vac and suck up the water. but that means I've got to do it. So yours is automatic. So that's pretty cool. Good job. See? Good job. Woo. All right, everybody. All right. So if anybody here on Instagram needs to say hello to the Fog Father, Rad Reptile 615, the Fog Father has joined Instagram just to say hello to you. Crosscut 8 is the Fog Father. So there we go. Tony says, I will say hi to all the lemurs there because they will probably ask about you. Yes, the lemurs love James because James. Okay, so everybody who didn't know the story, James would always get up before everybody else. He would be the first one up so he could go get his coffee. He's used to getting up at 4 a.m, and that's when he generally would start going to work and he'd go get a coffee. And so during this trip, he would get up at those horribly early hours. And so he'd go try to find coffee wherever he could. And he'd get people to open up the kitchen and that kind of stuff. And they'd do it for him. So this particular one this is at the at Palmarium, for those of you, and Tony, I will definitely, we'll take pictures of you, Tony, with the lemurs at the Palmarium, and we'll send them to James. And so James was out before there was anybody. And so this was one of those rare situations where there's more lemurs than there were people. And they said, hey, we like that coffee. And we like the sugar. And so they just kind of muscled in and stole James' stuff. And it was very hilarious. Christopher. So James started an epidemic of lemurs drinking coffee. Yeah. Guys. Yeah, I don't know that anybody can come back with as many stories as James. He came up with stories that I never knew could exist. So yeah, that was fun. But I got to tell you, I am excited to. It's 3 months away, and I am so excited, very excited to go back and of course I'm going to be filming and. The last time the internet was not as good as it was before. So I have no idea how much connection I'm going to get, but I'm going to be sharing with you guys as much as possible. Chris the Croc says, where can I get the same latches for the newer cages? I own the older model of the large screen atrium, but some of those older swivel locks have been broken off. I'd like to upgrade. Send me an email at bill@dragonstrand.com and I can get a quote from my manufacturer about sending out some latches. I actually don't know where he gets those latches, and he won't tell me. I'll do screen cages. Hello from Germany and special greetings to James. Oh my goodness. Well, hello, welcome. Glad to have you here from Germany. Nate says, Bill, do you record B-roll for future videos there or only pics? Oh, I do all sorts of video there. Now, this last time, I did a lot of video with my, a lot of video, and that SD card got messed up. So I'm really disappointed about that. So, Bill, do we have an estimated time on the other female bifidus coming in? All right. So Janet is asking about first fur bifidus coming in. And as many of you know, and I'll say it for those who don't, we in our little Chameleon Academy community started a grassroots breeding effort for first fur bifidus. If you've never seen first fur bifidus, Google it. It's a very cool chameleon, rarely seen. It's not rare. It's just we got a lot of good stuff from Madagascar. So some things slip under the slip away. And this is one of them. So it's a very cool chameleon. And a number of us wanted to work with it because James found one in Madagascar, fell in love with it, and decided we're going to work with it. So it's James's fault. And so we got an initial group in, but it was male heavy, and we've got females coming in sometime later this year. to match with the males. And so that's what Janet is asking. The answer is, I don't know. I haven't heard. I'll have to check. And but who knows when it's going to come in. Now, good news is that both James and I have had matings. And so if those matings took, which the females, boy, they've got gravid colors. They let you know when they've mated. Oh my goodness. And so they both gave signs that they've been mating. So we'll see. And if that's the case, then maybe in January we get some eggs. And then that would be so freaking cool if we were able to offer unrelated F1 pairs to the community. That would be so cool. So just hang out here and see what happens. So let's see. James is saying, lol, Bill's always blaming me, as is appropriate, because it was your fault. Yeah. Tamara Reed, can you use a pitcher plant as long as the chameleon is big enough? Yes. I assume you're talking about the Nepenthes tropical pitcher plant. I use those extensively. But everybody, they are carnivorous. And if the chameleon is small enough to fit into the pitcher traps, then it's dangerous. Don't do that. Now, the chances of a chameleon going into the pitcher trap are very small, but it would, as I say in one of my early podcasts, don't be the first person that has to report that a plant ate your chameleon. Okay, just don't do it. We don't need that report. So make sure that your chameleon is too big to fit into the pitcher. We don't need that kind of accident going on. Now, there are a number of other kind of pitcher plants. There are the North American pitcher plants, because I like the big long tubes. Those get a little tricky because number one, they need a lot of light, and they need a dormancy. And so you got to take them out of the cage and put them in the refrigerator for the winter. So the North American pitcher plants don't do so well. And in fact, most of the Nepenthes tropical pitcher plants don't do well. There's only about 3 species that are in the middle: Miranda, Alata, and Ventrata. Those are like in the middle that really work within the conditions that we have in chameleon cages. Most of them are either want it way too hot or they want it much colder than we keep them. That's just the way of it. So, but if you get those 3, the Miranda variety is my favorite, but the Ventrata, I think that's it. That's the Home Depot one. Those work too. Those are very cool. So there's the answer. And of course, South American pitcher plants, no, they need it too cool. Australian pitcher plants, I love them very much. I don't keep them in my chameleon cage. This is bizarre listening to you in stereo, Bill, on Instagram and YouTube. That's right. I'm coming from all directions. Bill, Robin has flappy flap eggs on burner. I can't wait to see how it goes. I really want one really bad. That is very cool. Yes. And so I'll translate that for people who are new to here. Is that a flappy flap? That's Caluma brevicorn. That's what we call them here. Eggs on burner, meaning she has eggs incubating, and a robin is a regular tender here. So there you go. There's the translation of what Angela just said. Kane Creamer has a question. Has anyone had to deal with fungus gnats? Plants are starting to die because of them. I got a carnivorous plant. I got a butterwort, and I put a butterwort in, and it ate up all my fungus gnats. That's what I love to do. Other people put rocks and stuff on the soil. I love the carnivorous. It gave me an excuse to get a carnivorous plant, and I always take excuses to get a carnivorous plant. Sundews would work too, but the pinguicula butterwort worked really well for me. Love those guys. Marcia says, we're here. Please don't flog us. we charge for that service here. What the heck? Oh boy. All right, everybody. Oh. All right, everybody, I just want to make this announcement right now. Tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Pacific is when we're going to get together for the video on YouTube. So YouTube has this thing called a premiere, which means that for the first showing, if you set it up as a premiere, which I do, for the first showing, there's a live chat that goes on just for the first showing. And when the first showing is done, that live chat disappears, so you never see it again. So I'm inviting everybody to come join us, get your cup of coffee, get up early. It's 5 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m. on the East Coast, and join us. We just get in, we just chat, we say hello to each other, listen to and watch the video, talk about the video, talk about life in general. It's just a fun way to start the day. So it's really what I love about what we're doing here is we've got a community of people that support each other and love chameleons. And you may be here to learn about chameleons. That's so much fun when you got people, nice people to do it with. So and I get to meet these people. We just had an in-person get-together at the beginning of August at Clint's Reptile Room. And we got there for the 10th anniversary. Yes. Oh, by the way, we got to talk. Oh my gosh. It's time. It is coming time. Remember, December, the first Saturday in December, we have the season finale live show. Although I don't know what that means because I don't know what exactly I'm stopping. But we have an end of the year show of a 6-hour live marathon. And this is the traditional day. You plan it ahead of time and you just stay in pajamas for the entire day and you watch Chameleon, the Chameleon show. So that's happening, I think, December 6th. Is that when we have it? When is it? And I am already starting. It is December 6th. Yes, this will be December 6th. And this is going to be a very special episode because that will be officially 10 years since the Chameleon Academy podcast outreach started. I think it was December 2nd was the official day that the first podcasts launched. And so we are going to be having a 10th anniversary it's extravaganza. It's a 6-hour long live session. And I have guests. I have people come on and we talk. I generally have one guest per hour. And I'm already starting to get some people together. So you just put that on your calendar. See, there's a lot of fun stuff that we got going on here. And I'm going to be talking about that, let's see, in the newsletter. So the people we have a number of new people here. If you like what you're seeing here, we have a newsletter, free newsletter, comes out every Monday morning that gives us the week topic. And then we have this is open question and answer section. There's no agenda here. We just come, ask whatever questions. These are office hours. And then Wednesday morning at 5 a.m. Pacific, that is our video. And we have a premiere and we get together and we say, hello, how's it going? Wednesday evening is when I co-host the Reptile Show Reporter, and I'm just disruptive. So don't expect to get anything out of that show. But a lot of people come and they love to see, we just fool around. Okay. There's nothing gonna happen other than we're just all gonna fool around and we have a fun time. And then Saturday at 12 noon Pacific is the workshop, where I get together and we talk about the topic. This week's topic is feeding chameleons, how much to feed chameleons. And so that's what tomorrow's video about. And that's what the Saturday show is going to be about. But it's a weekly thing. Join the newsletter and you'll get that entire calendar. And we're going to be talking about the 6-hour live marathon. That's going to be on December 6th. So Mike says, Bill, James, are you guys needing incubators for the bifidus eggs? Are they like pardalis? They are like Parsons, although only one. So we're going to give them a diapause. So we do need an incubator. We use wine coolers to give the diapause, and then it's kind of like at room temperature. And so I don't have an incubator for the room temperature, but going through, I just have to make sure that it's somewhere around the low 70s. That's fine. CNC Tortoises says, congrats on your 10th anniversary, Bill. A testament to your passion and commitment. Thank you very much, CNC Tortoises. Yeah, it's really strange thinking about 10 years. Really? 10 years. 10 years ago, at this point, 10 years ago, I was putting together the absolute first episode of the back then it was the Chameleon Breeder podcast. I had to change it because people think, oh, is this just for chameleon breeders? No, it's for everybody. So I rebranded it a Chameleon Academy. But 10 years ago, I was right now figuring out how to do a podcast. I got to tell you right now, you just turn on your camera and YouTube will throw up your podcast. Back then you had to figure it out. And then it was an audio podcast. And the reason why'd you do audio podcasts instead of YouTube? Well, back then, the people I wanted to talk to weren't necessarily comfortable being on camera. Being comfortable on camera, everything changed during the pandemic. And then all these people who were, number one, scared to be on an audio podcast to begin with. Camera, forget it. Everybody got used to being on camera. And so now I can be on YouTube. That's the way of it. December 6th on my calendar. Wait a minute. Christopher says, I remember. How crazy. Christopher, were you there for the first episodes? Is that what you're talking about? Who? All right. I'm just wondering, how many people here were around 10 years ago and actually heard those first episodes? They're available on replay, so anybody can hear them at any time. But how many heard them back when they were released? I would be very interested in learning that. Says it would have been funny if you interviewed them back in the day with the lights off, like they're in the witness protection program. I got to tell you, there were people who were so scared about being on a podcast. I'd say it's just like a telephone call. We just talk and you just answer. I ask you questions and you just answer. No way. There are some people that would have nothing to do with that. And things have changed. Things have really changed. There's a lot of shows now, and people are okay with being on camera and being interviewed and stuff. But back then, it was challenging. Christopher says, you got me through the night shift with those early episodes. I am glad to hear that. Is so cool to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Let's see, I wasn't even using a computer 10 years ago. Did you have a smartphone? They had podcasts on the smartphones. In fact, it was more difficult to listen to. You could get a podcast on the computer. It was a smartphone thing. Eliza Ann found the Chameleon Academy in 2021. Okay. Yeah, I remember 2020. I'm going to have to go through memory lane on the 10th anniversary show, but yeah, anybody here was with me during the pandemic. There was like when we were on lockdown, I did a podcast a day, and so there's like a month and a half where I did a podcast every day for a month and a half, just to keep us talking, to keep us sane, to have chameleon goodness coming in during these rough times. So that was kind of fun. Chris the Rock says, I was in college and I was listening to those episodes as they came out. Now I'm a 7th grade science teacher and I have a panther chameleon in my class. Oh, wonderful. I'm the favorite teacher because of my chameleon, as is appropriate. As is appropriate. Isn't that when you were in the park some in 2020? Yeah, I don't know how much I was in the park. Oh, that would have been later on in 2020. The later half of 2020. because I moved. I moved during the pandemic. Yeah, that was fun. And so I moved from Northern California to Southern California, and right around June. So the pandemic, I started doing it. I think it was March or April? I started doing it every day, and then I did a bunch of park stuff later in the year. Yeah. Oh, that's going to be fun. It's going to be fun going through memory lane. I'm going to go through, and I think one of the hours for the 6 hour is going to be a history, and I'm going to bring up stuff from the history of doing it. And then I'll just go through the entire, that'll be fun. Got 6 months, 6 minutes per year. Oh. All right, everybody, we are getting to the end of the show. So if you have any last questions, please put them down. Coming to the end. It's let's see, next Saturday. Oh yeah, we'll be there tomorrow night is when we're going to be talking with Sean McNeely. And if you got the newsletter on Monday, and if you signed up and you didn't, go check your spam folder, maybe there. But there's a number of things throughout the newsletter that we're going to quiz Sean on to make sure he read the newsletter. And so you just look through the newsletter and you'll see something. All of a sudden, I throw out something, and that's for us to ask Sean tomorrow. But first, tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. Pacific. That's when the next video goes out. So, Michael Bauer, I also probably have some of the first gen Dragon Strand baby cages. Those are the nursery cages. Yes, everybody. Oh man, Dragon Strand was another thing. I mean, I've still got Dragon Strand, but in 2013, I think I'll have to have that as part of the history. 2013, I launched Dragon Strand, the chameleon caging company, and that was the first chameleon caging company that offered hybrid cages specifically for chameleons. And before that, it was everybody saying they got to have screen cages, and said nope. And that was the first nursery cages, which were the first cages specifically for keeping chameleon babies separate. That was a big thing that I was trying to push. And now you got hybrid cages all over the place. You've got the nursery cage clones all over the place. So things have changed. That was 12 years ago. Yeah, there's a lot of change. Mikey Ben found the Academy in 2015 when I rescued my first cam. Wasn't active on social media till that Purpose and Promise podcast episode. Wow, that was with the reptile entrepreneur. I did a reptile entrepreneur show. But yeah, that was late. But if you found the podcast in 2015, that's when it started. You've been there from the beginning. Yeah, it's awesome. So, all right, everybody. My wife just got home, and so I'm going to cut off 5 minutes early. I want to say, everybody, thank you very much for being here. And if you're up early tomorrow morning, I'll see you then. And if not, Reptile Show Reporter, or on Saturday, and we'll talk about feeding chameleons. So thanks for making Tuesday a wonderful night. I'm here every Tuesday night, and you are welcome to join us. So everybody, thank you. You owe us 5 minutes. Don't worry. There are some times that I go over 15 minutes. So I'll pay you back those 5 minutes, I promise, before the end of the year. So, all right, everybody. We'll see you later.